Hello there, Stanley Carr here. I love collecting music and sports memorabilia. Want to know where you can find some? I'll tell you. Go to oldglory.com. This website features one-of-a-kind apparel from your favorite sports teams and musical artists. And I can help you get 15% off of all items. Use the code WWH135. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're always about the positive vibes here on the show. And with me right now, I've got a very special guest. He has competed for numerous independent promotions across the country and has even appeared on Ring of Honor and Ohio Valley Wrestling programming. I am pleased to welcome Thomas Heim. Welcome, Thomas, to Wrestling with Heart.
Stanley, how are you, man? Also, I hate to be that guy, but it is Heim. I get that all the time. If you've seen like the OVW like thumbnail of me versus Tony Gunn, they actually misspelled my name. But like in the thumbnail it's misspelled, but in the title it's right. So it's a big confusing thing, but it is what it is. I'm happy to be here though.
My pleasure. So, you a big wrestling fan growing up?
Yeah. So it's funny because like, my first memories like in life revolve around wrestling. So I remember like we didn't have like a whole bunch of money to like spend on the pay-per-views. So this is back when like you could go to a B-dubs and watch wrestling shows. I must have been like 3 at the time, but it was like The Rock versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania. And I couldn't tell you why 3-year-old me was a big Steve Austin fan, but I just remember like bawling my eyes out when The Rock was like hitting him with rock bottoms over and over. So yeah, like wrestling's been a part of my life, at least watching it every Monday and Thursday at the very least since literally I can remember.
Yeah, those two had just so many classic battles. 3 matches at WrestleMania, had probably one of the biggest rivalries in the entire Attitude Era. I mean, those two really made the Attitude Era. They were the Attitude Era. And so being able to see those guys really have that heat like really built, it just made you want to watch the shows every week. You know, what were these guys going to be doing? What stories were they going to be involved in? And then when they got to the matches themselves, people were just like into it. And so no better time to be a wrestling fan than watching during that period. Hands down.
So I was on like the back end. So yeah, for me growing up, it was like John Cena, Edge, like Randy Orton, like the like ruthless aggression era, I guess. So it was like 05 to, I mean, like up until now, honestly, that, I've kind of been like into or watching wrestling. So that's kind of like my wheelhouse. But you brought up me being a teacher. It's weird because like now, whenever kids talk about like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, like, it was like The Shield, and I'm like, bro, like that makes me feel so old whenever I hear kids talking about that.
It's crazy to see like how much time has passed because John Cena just retired recently, and what a difference he made to the wrestling world and in the locker rooms, being able to really motivate and help just the guys around him and seeing, what he was able to do, especially outside of the ring too. But he had such a long career in the wrestling business. And then of course he has made his way to the Hollywood scene as well. But you brought up John Cena, Batista, Rey Mysterio was another name, of course, still going strong today, but he was also a part of that time as well. Brock Lesnar. He was like, I feel like like the first guy I feel like that was kind of like ushered in that era, so to speak, because he was the man. So getting to see those guys really make a name for themselves, really like I felt like kept everything going, even as guys like Austin and Rock left. So Ruthless Aggression era, I feel like is just so underrated, just so underrated.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, especially because it's such a weird time. Like, there's not a whole bunch of documentaries on it. Like, I'm glad that they're kind of starting to show some love to it now that like a lot of the guys that aren't in it as much are kind of out of it. But yeah, man, it's just slept on. Like, there's just a lot of like just like wrestling that like it would fit in like even now, right? Like you watch some of like the 80s wrestling and like the stereotype, which I personally don't agree with, but everyone's like, oh, like they weren't doing that much. It's like, well, yeah, but the whole purpose is to tell a story, sort of thing. Not to say that like there isn't a place for anything, but it's just different styles. And like for me, whenever it's like, if I'm going to bed at night, wrestling, it's like I'll put on like 2004, like some of the old school pay per views and stuff like that.
Do you remember you had brought up Austin Rock like your first memories, but do you remember the first, I guess, like pay-per-view that you remember like watching? Was it that WrestleMania?
I mean, yeah, but so it's kind of weird because like I remember like the first pay per view I remember us watching like start to finish was WrestleMania 25 with like the crazy like Undertaker Shawn Michaels match, and I just remember like as a kid like that had me like freaking out, like on the edge of my seat sort of thing because I would have been like 10, I want to say. So that was like a big influence, and that was the same one where like that was when they had like Money in the Bank on WrestleMania still. Uh, that might have been was that the year that they had like Chris Jericho face like all the legends and stuff too? I want to say it was
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
and like Ricky Steamboat went out and like killed it, and it was just like, oh my god, this old dude is like doing this crazy stuff. So like to me that was like always really cool, just stuff like that, the attraction stuff.
You had brought up Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, and you mentioned storytelling a bit ago. Talk about two guys right there that had storied past, like really like put on like an epic showdown, and then follow that with the next year. And you really could see like that story like unfolding and being told. And I feel like those are two matches that I feel like really when you go back and watch, like this is like one of those times when you really feel like, yeah, I'm a wrestling fan. Like this is why I watch, because I want to see these kinds of stories being told. Why are these guys wrestling each other? What's at stake here? Two guys wanting to prove like who's better, and then the following year, one of us has to retire if you don't beat me here. So it's like it's when you have the stakes being raised that high, that's I feel like storytelling at its finest.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Now, at what age did you decide I want to do this? I want to be in the business.
So I'm actually still really young in the business. So I'm 26 right now. I got into wrestling. Like I started training with Isaiah Moore, which that would have been 2024. So I had moved to Cleveland, and then I ended up moving back to Indiana. And while I was at the gym, I met a guy by the name of Russ Jones. And I don't remember how, but Russ had come up on like my like recommended friends on Facebook, and this dude is just huge. Like when you think of a professional wrestler, like that is Russ Jones. Like he's got like he's like super like like uh kind of built like the Warlord. He's got like the tattoos everywhere, bald, like the piercings and stuff. And so like I clicked on his profile and he was a wrestler. And so, I didn't really think about it. And then some time goes by and I see him at the gym. And at this time I was still coaching high school football. And I was like, hey man, like, are you a pro wrestler? And he was just like, yeah. And so I was like, would you be willing to train me? And his response was, he was like, I don't train people, but I know a guy who does. And so he hooked me up with Isaiah. And yeah, I started going up to a little gym in Coloma, Michigan, and I've been training with Isaiah Moore. So if there's ever a question that you ask me, like, oh, like, give me your opinion on this match or this match, it's like, man, I'm still trying to get like my feet under me as a wrestler right now.
Being a fan, watched it since childhood, getting into it. Did you play any sports growing up that kind of helped prepare you for entering in professional wrestling?
I mean, I want to say yeah, but also at the same time, it's like, nothing can really prepare you for it. So when I was like, I played football from the time I was in like sixth grade to the time that I graduated, and that's kind of like prepared me in terms of like knowing how to conduct yourself in a locker room, knowing how to like express yourself and solve conflicts, and like it kind of helped me come out of my shell too, because like I was a defensive lineman, so it's like, you don't get a whole lot of recognition, but like when the spotlight's on you, like it's really on you because you did something good. So like from that aspect, I think like just the being able to express myself, and like, like everybody has like their thing they do after they have a big play. And then other than that, I did like shot put in high school for the track team. So I'm not like a monster by any means, but I was 5'10", 200 pounds. So like I wasn't. I knew at that time I was like, I'm not going D1 for any of these sports. Like it's just something to do to enjoy while I'm in high school. Then I went to college at IU South Bend. I got my teaching degree, and then I've been teaching ever since.
So I like how you brought up like building confidence, and that's what sports can do. Like the more sports you're playing and the more practice you get, you start developing a sense of confidence in that can-do attitude. So you start training with Isaiah. Any pieces of advice that he's giving you while you're stepping through the ropes for the first time and start working with him? Anything that you've taken away from your time with him that you're applying to now?
Yeah, I mean, like, so one of his big things is like just hating the word like, or the phrase "I can't." So a lot of people that would come that have since stopped training, it was like, all right, today we're gonna learn how to like take a back body drop, so that if it happens in a match, you're not dying, right? And you get some people like, oh, I can't do that, I can't, and it's like, another thing is like 90% of wrestling is just saying screw it and just going, because like at the end of the day, if you're hesitant, that's when like injuries and mistakes happen. So there's that, and then also just like you're gonna suck. Like, so if there's anybody that's like, oh well, like I'm thinking about getting into wrestling, but I don't know if I'm gonna be good at it. Like nobody's good at it day one, right? Like even like I'm sure you've heard all the interviews and stories about like these guys like uh, Kurt Angle and like all these other guys that like they develop crazy, but like at the end of the day, day one, like nobody walks in day one and is like Ric Flair or anything like that. So just like in sports, nobody walks in day one and is Tom Brady. So it's okay to suck. Just have an open mindset and be willing to learn.
Yeah, be willing to learn as much as you can, learn from different people as well. Pick their brain. If legends come into a seminar, attend one of those, and you could just sit under their wing and just take notes, whatever you can, to be able to get better. Let's talk about your first match in the business, because when I've had people on the show talk about their first few matches, it can be nerve-wracking. It's intimidating because this is new. You're wrestling in front of a lot of people. What was your first match like?
Oh boy! All right, so I found out that I match uh 3 days before it happened. I want to say, Um, I don't know if any of you are familiar with a promotion called PWK up in northern Indiana, but I got a text message while I was teaching, and Isaiah had texted me individually, and he said, "Hey, just letting you know, this guy Dustin needs an opponent, and I'm choosing you to be the guy that has this match because I work hard, whatever. Like, just give me the opportunity because it was earned." Um, so yeah, then I also got a text from Dustin, saying that, "Hey, it's you and me on Saturday." So mind you, I'm teaching, so like I'm like trying half like can I say like PG-13 words on here?
Yes, yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I'm half-assed like teaching, and like I have my eye on my phone, and like mind you, like as a teacher, you're supposed to tell the kids not to be on their phones. So I'm like going against my own rules, and I'm like trying to hide like the excitement and anxiety that I have now. But yeah, my first match, Dustin Mack is the guy's name. He did a great job of leading me, and it was super simple. There was a lot of like confusion day of as to like what the plan was and that sort of thing, but we got it sorted out. He and his wife were like on the verge of having a baby, so it was super chaotic for him. It was super chaotic for me because I'm still trying to figure out who and what I am as a wrestler and that sort of thing. So yeah, we wrestled in front of about 30 people, and yeah, it was quite a time.
What was the feedback like after the match?
Uh, Trying to think. I mean, like obviously it's your first match, so like things are gonna be sloppy and kind of like your nerves are gonna get to you. You're gonna go way too like fast. But a lot of the feedback was like, it was mainly like, hey, good job of like not sucking like terribly, right? Like if you've ever seen bad wrestling, like it's really bad. And it wasn't something that I think would end up on anybody's bad wrestling night. So that was what I was kind of proud of. But the main feedback I got was just like, hey, like figure out who you are, sort of thing, which I feel like is super common because I mean we're all trying to figure out who we are as wrestlers, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and like you said, you're still new to the business. You're still trying to figure out that identity. Right now, as we're talking, if you could describe maybe your persona that you've maybe carved out, how would you explain that to people?
So the way that I usually describe it is to find Thomas Heim, I fight how I freak and I'm nasty. NAST,
Mm.
if you would. How you spell nasty? NAST. Because
Who
I'm
would
nasty, that's why.
Who would you say have been some of your influences as far as wrestling styles or characters? Because when you're trying to develop a persona, when you're trying to develop a character for the first time, you want to be able to go and study different people and then kind of pick and choose different elements from those characters and then fuse them together into yours. So who would you say are people that you look up to?
I mean, like, inspiration wise, is usually guys that are more undersized, just because that's if I'm watching, like guys that I'm trying to emulate, it would be stupid of me to be like, I'm gonna go watch The Undertaker and see how he does things, because that makes no sense. So guys like Shawn Michaels in the '90s, even like in the 2000s, but I'm just, my comfort stuff is like late '90s stuff. Um, and then like Randy Orton is another guy who like his fundamentals, like everybody talks about being crazy. Um,
He's so fluid in
go
the
back
ring
to the
too.
'80s, like Rick.
He's
What
so
do you say?
fluid. Randy, like you're talking about Randy Orton,
Oh,
whose
absolutely,
movements,
yeah,
are just incredible.
yeah.
Very fluid.
And everything he does, there's oh, absolutely, there's a reason for everything he does. Um, Seth Rollins, a guy like now who is great to study. Um, anybody, I feel like anybody who you can think of that's like, you grow up and you're a fan of wrestling, anybody that, has been on TV is obviously there for a reason. So even guys now, like just really anywhere that I can take inspiration from. Movies is a big one, especially like when it comes to like character stuff. So um, just like trying to watch as many like the sleazy guy at the bar sort of thing, or like just the arrogant type of person. So that's kind of where I try to draw inspiration from.
What movies would you say are like those kinds of films that you're like, I kind of want to add this to my gimmick, to my character?
Well, so that's kind of a loaded question because like if I were to describe like my gimmick, it's really just like the if I'm a bad guy, right? Like it's just like the worst like characteristics of myself because like everybody's selfish at the end of the day, like to an extent, right? Like even like me teaching, why do I teach? Because it makes me happy. So like I'm going to teach because selfishly it makes me happy that like I can have an impact on other people. Um, so like me, if I'm doing the too fine thing and I'm like licking my fingers after I give a guy a back rake, it's like when like when I'm like present in that moment, it's like okay, like if I'm gonna be nasty, like I'm gonna be nasty, that sort of thing. Um, but yeah, like just really any like movie where it's like the bad guy is justified. Like I'm a big Batman Dark Knight fan, so like as long as you can think you're justified, like that's kind of my thing. Um, and everybody has their own motivations for the messed up stuff that they do, right? Like even like in my other line of work, like whenever people lie, it's mainly because they're trying to have some sort of like advancement with like money or some type of like relationship. So I mean, if anything else, dude, I take more inspiration from my students than anybody else.
You always want to draw inspiration from real life situations. I think that kind of makes
Oh,
for the best
absolutely.
kinds of characters, kinds of stories that you want to tell. So
Yeah.
you're now wrestling on the independent scene. What are your future goals? Where do you see yourself in the next several years?
I mean, I feel like everybody's goal is to get signed to like a major TV contract, right? Like, if you're on the independents and like you're doing it like just to do it, like that's great. But I feel like for the most part everybody is kind of in the same boat where it's like, hey, we're all fighting for an opportunity to like make a living off of wrestling. So, um, if that opportunity ever comes, then that would be lovely. Like I enjoy teaching, but at the end of the day, like the thing that I've wanted to do since I was a kid was be a pro wrestler. So it's yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
I mean, you've appeared on Ring of Honor, OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling. I mean, you're moving up the ladder. So once you get that exposure, that's a notch under your belt. So what was it like working for those promotions?
Oh, dude, it's a blast. Like, there's good people everywhere. Like, you listen to some of like the old interviews from like way way back in the day, and people talk about how cutthroat it is. But at the end of the day, man, like everybody, like if you're gonna be in a position somewhere, it's because you're the right guy for it. So like it's really cool because like all the locker rooms that I've been in, everybody supports each other, and everybody's rooting for each other, right? Like if you and I were in a locker room together, like you bring different things to the table than I do, right? Like you're great at like interviewing people and leading a conversation. So if a spot opens up where we need somebody who is has your skill set, then they'll plug you in. And just like if they need somebody like me, whatever, however you want to describe that, then they plug me in. So just like positive environment overall. OVW has trainings for their roster as well, so I went to quite a few of those over the summer when I was there, and I learned a lot from being there, which I'm really glad that I took advantage of that opportunity because they offer it to everybody. So yeah, I'm just trying to do my best to be the best version of myself that I can be while also like trying to help other people in any way that I can, being, only a year in at this point. So that's kind of my outlook.
When you're going to these training sessions, you're networking. You're meeting people that have been in your shoes before, just starting out in the business, and now they've made it to worldwide television, multiple time champions, worked several different promotions. Anything that you want to talk about, your experiences from learning from some of these legends?
I mean, the biggest thing is just like having an open mindset, like I said earlier. So you can take inspiration from anywhere, whether it's because everybody learns different things at different times. So I forget what it was, but just like even the warm up routine that they had us do at OVW, like that was way different to anything that I had done before. So there's different drills and stuff that they have us do, for like agility, coordination, even just like ring positioning stuff, where, then I can take it back and, I just tell Isaiah like, hey, they did this, this, and this. So then it helps like the school overall get better, because now there's just a new drill that we can incorporate and potentially learn from there. So I think just that sort of, like the whatever you want to call it, the principles that I learned there, and just like how to carry yourself like a wrestler instead of playing wrestler, sort of thing.
Yeah, you learn something new somewhere else, and you can take it with you anywhere you go. It gives you a new perspective. Dream opponents, people that you want to face that you haven't yet. I know you're already starting out a year into the business, but who are some people that you are just going, I'd like to have a match with this person?
Anywhere that I will get paid handsomely. But no, jokes aside though, it will, and like that is an honest answer, right? Like anything on TV, that would be awesome. But like right now, like a realistic answer to that would probably be Jason Hotch, who he's on TNA right now. He's part of the Great Hands with Order 4. But he's from like the same area that I'm from. He was like the first or second heavyweight champion at the like my home promotion, which is GLWA. I'll give a shout out to them. We had a tag team match where it was Hotch and Skyler versus myself and Isaiah Moore. So I think like a one-on-one with Hotch is kind of like if I had to give you a definitive answer of like a match that I want within the next 2 years, I'd probably say Hotch.
All right. Well, you talked about it throughout the podcast. You are a teacher working as an economics teacher, instructor. What made you decide to pursue that field? And talk to me about the most rewarding aspects of the job.
So I'm impressed with the fact that you knew like down to the subject that I taught, because I don't think I've like shared. I might have shared that with like one other person maybe, but I respect the research. So yeah, I knew that I wanted to be a teacher when I was younger. I remember like I was watching Monday Night Raw with my brother, and he was like, like talking about everything, and he's like, "What do you want to do when you're older?" And I was like, "I want to be a wrestler." And he's like, "Well, what if that doesn't work? Like, what's your fallback plan?" And at like, you know, probably younger than 10, I was like, I don't know, I'd probably like to be a teacher, because I enjoy helping people and like trying to entertain people in some form or fashion. So as I got older, I knew that I wanted to teach, and I had a lot of great teachers like when I was in school. So I wanted to teach business because I had a really good like business teacher, and we had a lot of fun in that class. So I was like, okay, this is a subject that's fun, and I want to be able to have fun when I'm at work for 40 years, because if I got to do it until I'm 70 or 80, I want to at least have fun when I'm doing it. So I was teaching business for a few years, and then now I'm teaching econ. So kind of similar, but yeah, like if I had it my way, man, like right now in life, I'd be teaching PE and I'd be wearing like sweats all day at work. Like it would be lovely, but
That sounds
I
like a
enjoy
fun
what I'm
kind of
doing.
job.
Yeah, no, it's a blast, dude. Like you never know what you're gonna get with the kids. Like, and also I can kind of see like what's like happening in pop culture, just in life too. Like when the 6'7" thing was big, like I felt like I was like in the know before it got big, which is kind of funny. So just stuff like that always entertains me.
Yeah, when you get to be in front of a group of kids, it makes you kind of think back to when you were a kid and being in school, and it's like, wow, can't believe that's so long ago. But it makes you kind of like, wow, don't want to take this time for granted. Really want to
Oh yeah,
enjoy being able to feel like I'm making a difference, and I feel like I'm able to uh, pass on my knowledge and wisdom to the next generation.
yeah, absolutely. And like I always feel weird saying like my knowledge and wisdom because like I try not to be the smartest guy in the room whenever I'm there. Uh, but yeah, like even tying it into wrestling too, like part of being comfortable talking to people is talking to people, and there's nobody that's going to be more critical than 16 to 18-year-old high school kids, because if you mess up they'll make fun of you for it for a while. So that I feel like that has helped me like with wrestling as well, is just being able to practice like delivery and like how to like speak in public, that sort of thing.
What are their expressions when they tell you, what are their reactions when you tell them about being a wrestler? What are their responses?
So like you get like the standard like, oh, what weight class, or like that sort of thing, and then I have to explain like, no, like it's like the stuff you see on TV with like punching and like sometimes chairs and that sort of thing. Where I'm at, I work in a like rural school now. I used to work in the inner city, um, but like I work in a rural town now, so a lot of them know what pro wrestling is and like they're fans of it. And also like recently I've been thankful and blessed enough to be able to like go and do shows during the week, so I've taken time off of work. So like a lot of the kids like they'll find my Instagram, which like if you've seen my Instagram, it's kind of like goofy in a way compared to like teacher me. So like if you're a 16, 17-year-old kid and you see your teacher doing that sort of thing, then it's like kind of jarring. But like it's funny, man, because like kids will come up to me and they'll think that like they got me, and they'll be like, "I found your Instagram," and I'm like, "It's pretty cool, ain't it?" And just so like I try to have fun with it, like, and I tell them like, if a kid judges it or they're like, oh, that stuff's the F word, then I'm just like, man, like, do you like anime? And half the time it's like, well, yeah. I'm like, okay, then we should be like best friends. Like, what is the holdup here? Like, so yeah, just stuff like that. But I don't know. I think the kids ultimately, I think they think it's a little cool, even if they don't admit it.
We're a show that is all about giving back and helping your community. And of course, you being a teacher, you're out there, helping the youth, mentoring the youth, giving them that guidance, that sense of confidence and motivation. What kinds of causes are you very passionate about and supportive of?
So I'm a big mental health guy. I feel like with where we're at in society now, I feel like a lot of people are. But yeah, like I've struggled with like the whole anxiety, depression gamut for, really since I was 22, 23. So, yeah, for me personally, I'm big on like mental health, that sort of thing. And also, like, when I was younger, I used to have like the panic attacks, that sort of thing. So, actually at my school, we have, like a club. It's called Bring Change to Mind, which they do a lot for mental health awareness, and they do like different. I believe they do different like fundraisers and stuff like that to try and like not only spread the word, but also like they share the suicide hotline number and things like that. So yeah, and part of that too is like for me, I was at like a really down point in my life when I started getting into wrestling, because I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew that I always wanted to be a wrestler. That didn't pan out at the time. And I just felt kind of stagnant. So I was like, you know what? Like, I don't care what anybody thinks anymore. I'm going to go for it and see what happens. So if anybody is like needing advice, just who cares what people think? Just enjoy what you enjoy.
Yeah, and life is too short. You want to be able to get the negative stuff out of your head and be able to think about the things you do like and enjoy and want to do and are passionate about. It's like you said, you know, you'll find do the things that scare you anyway. You know, just go for it. And so just get out of the funk that you're in and be able to just go for everything. Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
Well, what is it about giving back to the community that gives you the most joy?
That's a really good question, and I wish that I knew how to like word it perfectly. But I mean, like, so to me, I don't see teaching as like giving back to the community in a sense. It's just something that like I see teaching as something that I enjoy because like I know for me, I always wanted somebody to like be truthful with me and tell me like, hey, it's okay to be yourself. So for me, the most rewarding thing is whenever like, you know, you have a kid come in at the beginning of the year and they're kind of closed off and like they don't want to talk to anybody. And then by the end of the year, they're comfortable like in their own skin, or at least a little bit more. Which, you know, going back to what you asked me a little bit ago about, you know, what do people think when they find out that I'm wrestling? You know, like it kind of, what do you call it? It brings people's guards down. Because it's like, okay, well, if Mr. Heim is like doing the wrestling thing, then it's okay for me to like this, or it's okay for me to do this because, like, you know, like that dude doesn't care what anybody thinks. So, like, why should I? So, to me, it's more of like an intrinsic thing, more than like a, you know, oh, like I love giving back to the community because of, you know, politically correct answer number 3. It's just, I don't know. I enjoy giving back to people, and if I could explain why, then I'd write a book about it and hopefully make a lot of money.
Well, like you talked about with mental health and being able to kind of cope with things that are just kind of like on your mind or going through a hard time in your life. And so you want to be able to think of ways to kind of take the focus off of that and just think about something that's the opposite of that. Just think of something that you love and are very passionate about. And so I think that it'll just remove all the noise. So I want to say, Thomas, thank you so much for coming on to Wrestling with Heart. It means a lot to me and to my listeners and viewers that are watching this on YouTube. Where can people find out more about you on social media? And if there's anything you want to plug, feel free.
I don't think I got much to plug right now, man. So you can find me on social media at Thomas Heim with the little underscore after Thomas Heim. So it's ThomasHeim as in mother, and then with the little underscore. The only thing I want to plug is just enjoy life and try and be yourself as much as you can. And even when you can't, like, screw that, just try your best to be. So
thanks again, Thomas, and you're more than welcome to come back.
Hey, thank you. Anytime you need a guest, man, just let me know.
Will do. Take care.
Yep, you too. Be safe, Steve.
You too. Bye-bye.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.